All right. I think we'll get started. I like to start on time, and that's kind of my preference. And I know we have to run a little bit late because we have a few stragglers, but we'll invite them in and welcome them in when they do come. All right. Thank you all for coming today. Thank you for taking time out of your day on your Saturday to come and learn a little bit about how you can balance your blood sugar naturally and what is actually causing your blood sugar to not be balanced. What's actually causing diabetes, prediabetes, and all of these health conditions that we now know are chronic and things that we can actually deal with and make changes to. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to learn. I was in a similar position to all of you years ago. And when the time came for me to make a change, I was just like you, sitting in a seat, ready to learn. And I had an open mind. And it allowed me to realize that things that I thought were real and things that I thought we were doing correctly, we really weren't. And so that's why I'm here today, because I want to help you all learn about a new paradigm of health called functional medicine. And I'm going to teach you how functional medicine really does help address the root cause of health conditions. And I'm very, very excited to be doing this presentation. This is my first presentation as the owner of my own company called Health Upgraded. And so all of you are here kind of at the ground floor, very, very exciting for me. We are streaming this live on Facebook for those who aren't able to attend in person. We know that geography can be a bit of an issue, but we do want to get this message out to as many people as possible. And so what I'd love from each of you is for you to take home as many notes as you can, learn as much as you can, share this with the people that you love that need to hear this information. Okay? Our mission at Health Upgraded is to remove the health concerns of those that really want to make the world a better place. We know that there's so many people around that are in difficulty, that are less fortunate than us. And I truly believe that human ingenuity is the only way that we're going to have a positive effect on improving the health and the lives and the quality of lives of everybody around the world. And so I work especially with entrepreneurs, executives, high-performing individuals that really want to help fix the world. I don't want health to be a barrier for them. And so our mission at Health Upgraded is to improve the lives of those that want to make the world a better place. Okay? I'm very, very excited to have our special guest, Ziba Khan, here today. Ziba has come from Singapore. She is a wonderful clinician. She is an Ayurvedic clinician, meditation teacher. She is a motivational speaker and energy healer. She's a nutritionist, and to the point where Ziba is actually one of the top meditation teachers on Mind Valley's Solvana app, which actually only works with the top 1% of meditation teachers worldwide. So I'm very, very excited to have with us today Ziba Khan, and as you can see, obviously a very proud mother as well. So I'm going to give it off to Ziba at this point, and then I will come back in a little while. All right? Thank you all for being here, and let's welcome Ziba.
Thank you all very much for taking time out this morning to come and be with us. This is my little one, and I've had a very, very varied career, starting off with journalism, modeling. I used to be a university professor at one point, and most recently, I'm an Ayurvedic clinician. I've always led a very healthy lifestyle. But several years ago, I was diagnosed with what was supposed to be a chronic condition. And so I went to the doctor, lots of tests were run, and in the end she said, "You're absolutely healthy, lifestyle-wise, but you need to learn how to handle your stress. That's what's causing all of this." So theoretically, on paper, I looked fine, I looked healthy, I was doing all the right things, but my career was causing me stress. So I went into meditation to teach people how to manage their stress, really and truly, because we all have it, no matter what we do. It's just a matter of what avenues our stress is coming to us from. So one of my clients, Bridget, came to me several years ago, and she had diabetes. She was 62 years old. She was a housewife, and she had had diabetes for more than 24 years at that point. Her HbA1c, as you all know, is your 3-month blood sugar average. Hers was 9.2. And she was on metformin. She was taking daily medication twice a day for it. That is extremely high. After speaking with her, I realized she had had her gallbladder removed 32 years prior. She had a history since her gallbladder surgery of gastrointestinal infections, bile duct infections constantly, as you can imagine, on antibiotics. She had been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and she also had trauma from childhood abuse. So she had different sources of stress, mainly physical, emotional, and to some extent psychological. On top of all of that, she wasn't getting along too well with her partner at that point in time. And they were going through a rough patch in their marriage, so of course that was causing stress as well. So after 6 months of working with Bridget, we did lifestyle changes, and I taught her meditation. Her HbA1c dropped to 5.4, which is fantastic. And her MD took her off of the metformin, which she had been taking for 24 years, and said, whatever you're doing, keep on doing it, because it's working for you. So what is meditation? Meditation is essentially the act of going within and calming yourself down and activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which is where our healing occurs. We rest, we relax. The counterpart of that is our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight response. So when we're anxious, when we need that surge of energy, we've turned on our sympathetic nervous system. The thing is, nowadays, given society, given civilization, given smartphones, given our lifestyle, we are constantly switched on. We'll lay in bed at night 5 minutes before we're about to fall asleep, and our phone is still in our hand. It is a constant thing. So we need to learn to activate the off switch in life, and that is what meditation does. So why meditate? Meditation is a form of healing. Whenever we're calm, whenever we're relaxed, and not only through meditation, but through any activity that we do, we're actually healing our bodies. And so it's really important. If you love painting, and when you paint or you listen to a particular kind of music, when you're completely tuned out, and you realize 2 hours have passed, and you have no idea that 2 hours had passed, when you're in that flow state like that, you're actually healing your body. So meditation does not need to be a very classical form that people imagine of some half-naked person sitting in the cold at the foothills of the Himalayas, right? Wearing white cotton, and maybe hair up in a bun, sitting on a cushion perhaps, meditating. It can be anything that brings you peace. People can meditate while running even. It's just anything that causes you to relax and gets you in flow. There are many benefits to meditation. There's the emotional benefit. You are far less reactive when you meditate. Far less reactive. Instead, you choose your response. Someone triggers you, you're still triggered. You're still bothered by this particular act or this particular person. But instead of resorting to your pre-programmed conditioning and say, raising your voice or shouting or slamming a door or leaving the room like you always have, after a prolonged period of meditation, you get to choose how you respond in that moment. All you need to change your response is a split second. That's all it takes, is a split second between that stimulus and your response. And that will actually cause you to remain calmer in that moment, and you feel more in control. So that's the emotional benefit of meditation. You don't feel as bothered by things, as triggered by things. And eventually you feel really good about yourself as a person too, because now you're choosing how you respond. Then there's the psychological benefits. Things don't bother you as much as they used to. Mentally you feel more resilient. You're able to kind of discern what's within your control in life and what's outside of your control. And so often we try to control that which is outside of our control, and that causes us stress as well. We have resistance to the way that things are. And meditation allows us to accept things as they are. We don't have to like it. We don't have to approve of the way things are. But just to have that acceptance also allows our body physically, psychologically, emotionally to relax, and we're able to heal. So let's do it. So why don't you all close your eyes? I'll guide you through about a 10-minute meditation. Get comfortable. Close your eyes and quiet your mind, stilling your body. Let go of all thoughts, worries, and tension. Give yourself fully to a higher power. Relax and trust and let go. Breathing in fully and exhaling with a deep sigh. And again, breathing in fully and exhaling with a deep sigh and letting go even more. Allow yourself to feel a deep sense of peace and contentment in your heart. We'll move our awareness into the body to release any trapped energy and move deeper into total relaxation. If you have cardiac problems or glaucoma or hypertension, use caution in the following exercise, and please do not hold your breath. We'll begin with the lower part of the body. So taking a deep breath in, hold the breath and tense your feet, your ankles, your calves, your knees, your thighs, your hips, your backside. Tense it, tense it, tense it, and release. Excellent. One more time. Big, deep breath in. Hold the breath and tense the feet, the ankles, the calves, the knees, the thighs, the hips, the backside. Tense it, tense it, tense it, and release. Bringing your awareness now to the sensations in your legs. Moving to the upper part of the body. Take a deep breath in. Hold the breath. Tense the hands into a fist. Tense the arms, the chest, the back, the neck, the face. Tense it, tense it, tense it, and release. Lovely. One more time. Big, deep breath in. Hold the breath. Tense the hands, the arms, the chest, the back, the neck, the face. Tense it, tense it, tense it, and release. Bringing all your awareness now to the sensations in your hands. We'll do the entire body one time. Take a deep breath in. Hold the breath, tense the feet, the ankles, the calves, the knees, the thighs, the hips, the backside, the chest, the back, the neck, the arms, the hands, the face. Tense it, tense it, tense it, and release. Letting the whole body sink deeper. And just observe the flood of energy extended to all your muscles, your nerves, your cells, your entire body. Take a deep breath in and release. Let your whole body melt into the flood of energy. Release any tension anywhere in your body. Do not fall asleep. During the entire period, remain relaxed and motionless, alert and conscious. Stay in touch with my voice at all times. Allow any disturbances, any sounds, external or internal, to only draw you deeper within. Let your mind merge and melt into the energy body and go beyond the boundaries of body and mind. Together we will shift from thinking and doing to being and feeling. Do absolutely nothing from now on. Simply relax. Your consciousness is in direct communication with your energy body. As you breathe in through your nose, fill your lungs completely without straining. Start exhaling through softly pursed lips, as if you were blowing out through a straw. Let it be a long, steady stream of breath when you exhale, and empty your lungs completely. As you inhale, fill your heart with joy. Each time you exhale, empty your mind of all anticipations. Empty your body of all tension. Now return to your normal breathing and turn your attention inward. Experience the powerful impact of the energetic pulsations felt throughout your body. Let your detached awareness embrace all experiences unconditionally. Allow your mind to melt and merge into it. And now bring your total, undivided attention to the point between your eyebrows and drop into the deepest level of silent stillness. Together we take a deep breath in and exhale. Follow my guidance as we move our awareness through different parts of the body. As I guide you rapidly from point to point, remain in your non-doing, silent awareness. Resolve to yourself that you will stay awake and alert. Now bring your undivided attention to your brow center, the pit of your throat, your right shoulder, right elbow, right wrist, thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, wrist, elbow, shoulder, pit of the throat, left shoulder, left elbow, left wrist, thumb, index finger, middle finger, ring finger, little finger, wrist, elbow, shoulder, pit of the throat, middle of the chest, right nipple, middle of the chest, left nipple, middle of the chest, navel point, middle of the pubic bone, right hip, right knee, right ankle, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, ankle, knee, hip, middle of the pubic bone, left hip, left knee, left ankle, big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe, ankle, knee, hip, middle of the pubic bone, navel point, middle of the chest, pit of the throat, back to the center between your eyebrows. Gather all your awareness in the brow center and let the non-doing presence fully manifest in your brow center. And observe the vast stillness and silence. Resting in this vastness, allow whatever comes into your field of awareness to be present without judgment, without comment. Witness it as it floats by like a cloud in the sky. Drop into the deepest level of relaxation. Here there remains nothing to do or to achieve. Simply be and feel. Feel all the energies of your body from all the energy channels activated, purified, balanced. All channels are open and the life force is flowing freely through you. Healing your body and calming your mind. Open your heart and feel content. If you have an area that you feel needs healing, physical, mental, emotional, allow this light and love to flow into that area now. Become aware of your body. Bring a deep sense of peace and contentment with you as you bring awareness back to the body. Notice how relaxed the body is, how soft the breath is, how quiet the mind is. Be still and be grateful. Know that you can easily enter here again and again by remembering this feeling. And now you may briskly rub your palms together to generate heat. And whenever you're ready, you can cup your palms over your eyes without touching your eye sockets. Keeping your hands where they are. Gently blink a few times to allow your eyes to adjust to the light. And whenever you're ready, you can drop your hands and open your eyes completely. No one snored, so that was a good thing. Lovely. So Ayurveda is an Indian science of life. It's about how to live life, not just how to be healthy. And it's about 5,000 years old, and it comes from the Hindu tradition. But Ayurveda teaches us that disease is not, or health rather, is not only the absence of disease, but it's all about life in general. It's about your mental outlook, your emotional health, and not just about the physical body. So Ayurveda teaches us that in order to actually be healthy, we have to clear our body of poisons or toxins, and that we feel health when our mind is at peace, when we're calm, when we're happy, when we're going to the bathroom and we're eliminating waste from our body correctly, and also when all of our organs are functioning properly. So when all of these individual elements are in place, then according to Ayurveda do we truly have health. So Ayurveda teaches us also that life and health is all about balance. And when we're imbalanced, that's when we get problems in our mental body, in our emotional body, in our physical body. So sometimes when I see my patients, they come to me, and if this is a scale, I've got to figure out, do I need to remove something from this side so that it comes up a little bit, or do I add to one side, or do I need to add to one facet of their life and remove from other facets? So Ayurveda is really all about a balancing act in our lives. The basic principle of Ayurveda is that there are 5 great elements in our universe. And so we have earth, we have water, we have fire, we have air, and we have space. And these 5 elements of nature form everything in the world. Everything. And when it comes to human beings, these 5 elements of nature combine to form 3 doshas. And a dosha is our mind, body, spirit composition. And we have all 3 doshas. We have vata, which is movement. We have pitta, which is transformation. And we have kapha, which is the end product, it's stability. And all of us have vata, pitta, and kapha. We all do. It's just a matter of which one is primary in our body, which one is secondary, and which one is tertiary, and then also in what ratio. And so we want it to be about, ideally, 30% vata, and then pitta and kapha 35% each, to have homeostasis and health in our bodies. So how do the doshas individually relate to stress? We all have a stress response when we're triggered, all right? And physiologically, what the body will do is release cortisol. And that's where we get the surge of energy all of a sudden, right? When we get stressed and we feel like we can go for longer because we have this release of cortisol. Ultimately, what happens with cortisol, especially if we have long-term stress, say we have a boss, we're going to work 5 days a week. Every morning when we wake up, we dread going to work. That's long-term stress. It's happening 5 out of 7 days a week. You're dreading going to work. You're releasing all kinds of toxins in your body when you wake up, during your dreams at night. You know, you might have insomnia because you don't want to go to work the next day. You keep falling ill because you don't want to go to work. That's long-term stress. And what happens is you have an accumulation of cortisol in your body, and this cortisol will create problems for you in the long run. And ultimately, what we have when we have a lot of stress in the body, we will begin to crave sugar. So we have sugar because it'll give us, again, a dopamine rush, short term. We'll feel good, right? We pop that candy, that soda, whatever it might be, that donut, and we'll feel better in the short term. In the long run, the sugar, as you all know, will create insulin resistance, and it will create problems. Okay? What we're doing ultimately is we are building up visceral fat, which is going to cause problems, and chances are quite high that this visceral fat will actually lead to diabetes. The different doshas, the vata, the pitta, the kapha, will all handle stress differently. With vata dosha people, I am vata dosha predominantly, and vata pitta. So when you talk about your doshas, you will always and only ever mention your first 2 doshas in order. Okay? So I am vata pitta dosha. For vata pitta people, or people who are predominantly vata dosha, when they are stressed out, it tends to manifest in the nervous system, and it'll manifest neurologically eventually. So if I get very stressed, I'll get very anxious. I'll get heart palpitations. My hands will start to shake. All right? A kapha dosha person, who's the other extreme, they're more a blend of earth and water. They won't take action when they're stressed. They'll like to behave like the problem's actually not occurring at all, and they will completely ignore it. Okay? Some of you turning to your partner, that's you, that's you, all right? The pitta dosha people get really fiery. So they'll just explode, whether it's temper or it's taking impulsive action that's the wrong action. They don't care. They're just going to take some action of some sort. So when pitta dosha people are really stressed out, that's how it'll manifest. on a behavioral level. But internally in the body, they'll start getting gastrointestinal issues, heartburn, acid buildup. They'll get stomach ulcers. The kapha dosha people who like to pretend like nothing is going on, physiologically, they will develop heart conditions. They tend to develop diabetes. They tend to get circulatory issues. So with their veins, their arteries, there'll be some clogging that's going on, maybe blood clots here and there. So again, the same stress, but depending on your dosha, it'll manifest differently. So what we need to do ultimately is to manage our stress. So we need to figure out, you guys saw this, eh? You need to figure out what it is that's causing you stress, and truly what is within your control and what is external. And surrender that which is external and take action upon that which we have control over, so that we're not resisting what is. Again, you don't have to like what is, but you do need to accept what is. Ultimately, once we are able to accept it, our stress levels come down and our body is able to heal. So what can we do to reduce our stress? There are a lot of different things. Number one, go out in nature. Okay, I live in Singapore, so I'm not used to this cold weather. But go out. I'm sure all of you can walk barefoot in this weather on the grass. Grounding is extremely, extremely, extremely good for the body. Okay, it helps to detoxify the body through the soles of the feet. Something else you can do is meditate. Again, it does not have to be necessarily guided meditation like I walked you through today, but if that resonates with you, you're welcome to do that. Drink plenty of water. That also helps to cause us to de-stressify. Eat healthy, organic, whole, clean food. Okay? Think about what brings you joy in life. What makes you happy? Really happy. Not just sort of kind of a little bit happy. Often we have to think back to our childhood to answer this question, because we become so detached from what makes us happy. So do think about what makes you happy and go out and do that. And lastly, get enough sleep. We are just not sleeping enough anymore. Ideally, Ayurveda teaches us to be in bed by 10:30 at night. 10:30 and wake up between 6 and 7. If you want to wake up around 4 in the morning, Ayurveda says that's okay too, but I don't think many of us like to do that. So between 6 and 7. And you get your body into a nice circadian rhythm, and things are able to heal more rapidly in the body, and you don't take stress as much. So I'll hand everything back to Navaz now. Thank you so much for your time.
Some of us are morning people. Weird. I wake up at like 5 o'clock on my own without even trying. It's weird. Just always have something to do. But I understand that life of not wanting to wake up early, right, Dad? So I'm going to introduce myself a little bit. I'm going to speak a little bit about my story. I'm going to share what I've been able to accomplish in my life and why I'm here standing in front of you and why I'm excited to be here standing in front of you. But before I do, I really want to thank Ziba for that, because that was wonderful. It was calming. I feel very relaxed up here right now. It's perfect. So thank you for that. I want you to close your eyes for a second and just imagine you're in a banquet hall. This banquet hall is huge, tall ceilings, nice chandeliers. The hall is massive, and there's 1,500 people sitting in that banquet hall. They're all facing one direction. They're facing towards the stage. And you're sitting right in the middle, kind of in the front area of that banquet hall. And you're sitting in a black graduation gown. And sitting on the stage are all of your professors and the people that you've learned from for the past 4 years. And then I want you to imagine that the MC comes to the podium and says, we're now going to hear from, insert your name here. That's what happened to me. when I was graduating from chiropractic college. I was a valedictorian of my chiropractic class. And I stood at the front of that banquet hall in front of 1,500 people, having graduated from a program that taught me how to be healthy, how to live a healthy lifestyle, and yet I looked nothing like a healthy lifestyle. I was not living that healthy lifestyle. I was so proud to be on that stage, to have accomplished what I did as being valedictorian of my class, representing my classmates, being able to speak, and yet I felt something inside wasn't right. And on the day I graduated, I was lucky enough to have the support of my family. Two of the people in this picture are actually sitting right up front here. My parents are here today. And if you see them later, just kind of keep an eye on what they used to look like about 9 years ago when I graduated and what they look like today. It's very different. It's a very positive thing. But you can also see that I wasn't in the best shape. You see, when I was graduating from chiropractic college 9 years ago, I was 26 years old. I was valedictorian of my class at CMCC, and yet I weighed nearly 250 pounds. I had blood sugar, borderline diabetic. I had high blood pressure at 140/90. My doctor wanted to put me on medication, on metformin, on BP medication, get everything down. They wanted to manage my symptoms. And rightfully so, because that's the tool that they had in their toolbox. But I said, no, I'm going to figure this out for myself. I had IBS. The jokes are that every Saturday night we would sit at home, turn on a movie, and I would head down to the washroom. And that's when I was relaxed and I was able to release toxins. I also had a very significant family history of type 2 diabetes, a very significant family history of heart disease. 3 of my grandparents passed of heart attacks. It's a very common thing in the South Asian community to have these challenges because of lifestyle factors, because of genetics, because of whatever it is. And knowing that I had these challenges ahead of me, I knew I had to get ahead of it. I felt like I was in the woods when this happened. I felt lost. I didn't know where I was. It just felt dark and dingy. I just didn't know where to go. And that's when I got really, really lucky, and I was ready. And when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And so a teacher appeared before me, and that was functional medicine. That was my mentor, Sachin Patel, who introduced me to this idea that health comes from within. Health is what we're actually seeking, that balance is what we truly need. It's the same principles that Eastern medicine, Ayurveda, TCM have taught for thousands and thousands of years that we're just now learning as the real route to health. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to jump at this. I'm going to learn what functional medicine is. I'm going to take this on. And I needed to know why. I'm very visual. I need to know what my motivation is. And 9 years ago, I didn't have a wife. I didn't have a kid, but I said, I don't want my kids to deal with the same things that I'm going to deal with, that I have been dealing with. And so this is my why. You'll probably hear her later on. She's playing in the park with my wife. That's my daughter. She's 2 years old. I'm very excited to be able to teach her how to not deal with the same health challenges that I've dealt with in my life. When I learned all of this, I said, okay, I can't just keep this to myself. I have to go out and tell people about this. And now I've been lucky enough and blessed enough to work with hundreds of patients to improve their health, whether it's diabetes, whether it's autoimmune disease, whether it's weight, whatever the challenge, I've been able to help people overcome what that problem is. And then I had the opportunity, and I'm very blessed to be able to say that I wrote a book. And so there are copies of the book at the back. It's sitting over here if you're interested. But it's called Activate Your Vagus Nerve, because when I was going through becoming who I am, I realized that the vagus nerve is such an important piece of the health puzzle. I know some people are currently reading the book. I have a couple of amazing patients here today that are learning and growing and being able to take on this information so that they can take on their own health challenges the way that I have. But essentially, I was able to get this information out to as many people as possible. And that's what I'm really excited about, is to be able to share this with as many people as possible. Diabetes is huge. We know this. 1/3 of the North American population, this is Canada right here, we have, in 2020, we'll have 12.2 million people that have diabetes and prediabetes. That's 1/3 of the population. And that's diagnosed. This is ridiculous. This is affecting so many people in such a negative way. And yes, it's being managed quite well by the medical system, but it's just that. It's only being managed. We are not addressing why this is happening. Why does diabetes happen? Why does blood sugar balance happen in the first place? What is the root cause behind it? And in going through the functional medicine training and being able to implement these changes in my own life and being healthier now than I have been 10 years ago, I've learned that the root cause behind all of this is negative stress. There is a such thing as positive stress. Keep this in mind. Exercise is a positive stress when done the right way. Deadlines for work are a positive stress because it actually gets you going. There are such things as positive stress. It's called eustress, E-U, eustress. The opposite of eustress is distress, D-I-S, distress, or negative stress. This is when the stressors become too much, when we cannot further cope with the amount of stress that we're under. So there's so many different types of negative stress. One that has been dealt with quite well today in emotional and psychological stress using meditation. It's one of the greatest tools that we know now to be able to help reduce our physiological or our psychological and emotional stress. And so these emotional and psychological stressors include like stressful life events, a death in the family, right? Job changes, negative relationships. But there's other stressors that we may not realize are weighing us down, holding us back, not allowing our bodies to get to where they want to. These can be physical stress. There's a very common one, childbirth. My wife went through it a couple of years ago. It's stressful. It's heavy, right? It takes a major toll on the body to give birth, and then to not have sleep for the first, 7 months of your life after that. It's significant. A car accident is a physical stressor. Postural issues. How many of us sit there 8 hours at a laptop or computer every day, right? How many of us sleep really, really well every night? Does everybody get 8 hours of sleep, 10:30 to 6? Anybody? No? No. These are stressors. Biochemical stress, bacterial imbalances, parasites. These are the things that we don't see. We feel it, but it's very difficult to explain what these problems are. That's where functional medicine really, really shines, is where we can't see these blind spots. Now we have science and progression in the world showing us how we can actually identify the root cause of these biochemical stressors, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. Poor dietary choices. How many people here are purposefully on a high sugar diet? Anyone? No. And yet, we're still 1/3 of our population dealing with diabetes. We're not purposefully doing these things. Something is happening. Something is blindly occurring. Something is going on in the back that we can't consciously see until somebody points it out to us. And that leads to, with these poor dietary choices, we get what's called malnutrition. Malnutrition, when we think about it, we're thinking of, those sad ads in Africa with these skinny children that have a lack of food. But malnutrition is a very different thing when we are overfed and yet lack the nutrients that our bodies and our cells need to do the job that they need to do. We have malnutrition here, but in the opposite way. Environmental stressors, secondhand smoke, car exhaust, Wi-Fi. Constant access and constant exposure to Wi-Fi is a stressor. Our body is being exposed to this guy right here. Technology is great, but I have 2.4 gigs running from here to there so that people can hear what I'm saying. Right? This area, it's important that we're able to share this information, but The environment that we're in is stressful. And when our ability to cope with these stressors is too much, then we start falling into these diabetes and other diagnoses type traps and the health challenges. Pesticides and herbicides. Ziba mentioned to eat organic. There's a reason for that. Pesticides and herbicides are not meant to go into our bodies. And yet glyphosate, which is sprayed by certain companies, Monsanto is the major company that's known for this, spraying glyphosate on probably 80% of our crops worldwide. It's essentially said now that organic has glyphosate on it just because of the fact that it's now everywhere. It's in the air, it's all over the place. So we're eating organic just to minimize the amount of glyphosate and herbicides and pesticides and other stuff that we don't even know is getting into our bodies. I have a very, very close family friend who lives right beside a golf course. Golf courses are notorious for using chemicals to make sure that their lawns stay pristine. Notorious. And there's a specific chemical that's known to leach into the water. And if you look at the rates of cancer diagnoses near these golf courses, it's significantly elevated just because of the water runoff and these chemicals that are coming out. These are all stressors that we're exposed to on a daily basis. So is our body able to cope? That's what really needs to be answered. When we have negative stress, and this negative stress level increases to the point where our ability to cope is not there, the stress causes a problem. It causes us to go into a diagnosis type state, a health issue type state. So these health issues include cancer, autoimmunity, diabetes. Name the health problem, the chronic health concern that you have. It's because of stress. It's because of stress causing inflammation in your body, leading to an issue in one organ or the other, depending on genetically what your body is able to handle and what it's not able to handle. But the root cause behind all of these issues is not that. The root cause behind these are the things under the surface. The poor diet, the inflammation, the environment, the lack of purpose, toxicity, not just in toxins chemically, but toxic relationships, toxic self-talk, poor self-image is in this as well. These are major health concerns that we need to address if we really want to figure out how to figure these things out. And once we identify what the problem is, once we are able to address that root cause, then we're able to create balance again. That stress is lifted away. Our ability to cope increases. And so that's what functional medicine, that's what Ayurveda, that's what traditional Chinese medicine are trying to accomplish, is to create that balance or homeostasis in our bodies. So I want to talk about a specific case, a patient of mine who actually lives quite close to here and sadly wasn't able to attend today because she is on vacation. But I want you to meet Amy. Amy is a 44-year-old lawyer. She's a very, very busy lifestyle. She actually works for Legal Aid Ontario. Her job is essentially causes her to run downtown and help whoever is having legal problems that can't pay for it themselves. And she has to run around from place to place. So she's constantly running around with a high-stress job. Her boss is not the best. There's a lot of issues going on. And she was experiencing low energy, weight gain. She was borderline diabetic and also diagnosed with low thyroid function, hypothyroidism. Anybody here dealing with hypothyroidism? Yeah. So common occurrence, and if you know somebody that's dealing with a thyroid condition, it's levothyroxine and Synthroid are the #1 most diagnosed medications on the face of the planet. There is also genetic markers for rheumatoid arthritis, and she was starting to experience significant joint pain in her hand and wrist. And so imagine for a lawyer who's running around, she's starting to feel all this stuff, and her energy level's low because her thyroid's not working well. There's a lot going on for her. So she had been diagnosed with borderline diabetes. Her hemoglobin A1C was just at 6.0. She's only 44 at this point. So these health challenges are really starting to kick in, but she's already got 2 other autoimmune conditions in rheumatoid arthritis and Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And then on top of this, she actually weighed 202 pounds. So there was a weight issue as well on top of this. She also had a family history, if you notice, of diabetes, hyperthyroidism, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, a lot of health challenges going on for her. And when she came in, she wrote on her intake form to me, on the question, what do you hope to achieve by working with us? It was maintaining or achieving good health, losing weight to deal with my hypothyroidism effectively, hypothyroidism, rheumatoid arthritis, and inflammation. Those are her major concerns. Diabetes wasn't there, but she knew that something wasn't right when she was given you are going to need metformin soon. She was on medication, levothyroxine. She was on Plaquenil for the rheumatoid arthritis. She had been told metformin was coming if she doesn't do something about it soon. She was also previously on Vimovo, Ventolin, and various antibiotics. So these are all important factors in my clinical history taking, because when I'm looking through this, I'm saying, okay, she's been through multiple rounds of antibiotics. Maybe something is going wrong with the bacterial population in her body. With Ventolin, asthma, there's a sign that something was going wrong earlier in her life, respiratory, and that's an autoimmune condition. Vimovo, rheumatoid arthritis. We're looking at these joint pains that she's only now experiencing hand and wrist joint pain, and this is a second rheumatoid arthritis medication that she's on at age 44. These are the things that I kind of noticed, and so there were other things that came out on our history taking and in our 1 hour initial appointment. We found that she was having irregular bowel movements, which was telling me that there was a gastrointestinal issue going on. There was something going wrong in her gut. Past history of asthma, like I said, means that there was an autoimmune condition from a long time ago, and that was a root cause that led to this. Significant antibiotic use is knocking out a lot of her gut bacteria. She had multiple chronic health conditions, including autoimmunity. When we have a lot of them concurrently, the answer is, let's go look at the gut, always. And her diet and stress levels were obviously not being correctly managed. She was running around, she was buying food from the closest vendor to where she was because she had to get from office to office, making sure that the courthouses were managed and the office was managed, and it was just too much for her. So we decided to do some functional lab testing. And I'm going to pass out the forms that the lab tests that I use for you guys to take a look at. So the first one from here, it says Genova on the top. That's a urine test. That's the first one I'm going to talk about. And on the other side here, we've got the GI map test, which is a stool test. Okay. So on her urine test, we found signs of insulin resistance. Okay. So it's carbohydrate metabolism, and we were noticing that there were signs of insulin resistance. Now, who here has heard of insulin resistance? Who here truly understands what insulin resistance is? Okay, I want you to think about this for a moment, okay? Each one of us are neighbors in our own house. And the Girl Guides come and they knock on the door. They say, hey, would you like to buy some Girl Guide cookies? You haven't seen them for a little while. You want to support the community? Say, sure. Cool? All right. There you go. You bought some cookies. They go next door. Knock, knock, knock. And they're doing this, and they're going to every single person. Now, they know that you've accepted cookies. So they're going to come again and say, hey, the next day, would you like to buy cookies again? And the next day, they come and they say, hey, would you like to buy cookies again? And the answer is, finally, no. And what if they start coming 2 times a day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day, driving you nuts? What are you going to do? Are you going to keep answering the door? Or are you going to stop it? You're going to just not show up at the door. You're going to stop coming to the door. You're going to stop answering. So I have a question. If insulin came knocking on every single one of our cells 3, 4, 5 times a day, are our cells going to keep answering? Or are they going to say, screw it, I'm not taking in any more sugar? Every time your blood sugar spikes, you get an insulin spike. Okay? So blood sugar levels go up. Our liver says, okay, blood sugar levels are high. Tell the pancreas that we need to release insulin. Let's get these blood sugar levels back to a good level. So insulin comes through the bloodstream, and it says, hey, can you please take some of this sugar into the cell? The blood sugar can't be this high. And so a little bit, you say, yes, I can take a little bit because I need to produce a little bit of energy, but if I'm not producing enough energy, then I can't take in enough sugar to reduce that blood sugar level. And if insulin comes knocking 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day, then the cells are going to stop answering. That's insulin resistance. When the cells are resistant to the effect of insulin. Does that make sense? That is how constant spikes of blood sugar lead to insulin resistance, which down the road leads to diabetes. In Amy's case, she was dealing with nutrient deficiencies, B vitamin, chromium, lipoic acid, coenzyme Q10. These are nutrients that were missing in allowing her to turn sugar into energy. She was unable to turn sugar into energy, so she couldn't accept anymore, and that allowed the insulin resistance to begin. We also found, who here knows what the mitochondria are? Mitochondria, awesome. Mitochondria are the energy engine producing things of our cells. So essentially every cell has between 5,000 and 10,000 mitochondria. These are engines. They're little tiny engines that power the cell to do the job that it needs to do. Every cell will do a different job. Every cell will, pancreas cells are going to create insulin and glucagon. We have brain cells that are going to send signals from side to side. Bone cells are going to grow and produce structure. Every cell has its own job, but they all need energy to do their job. They all need tools to do so. And so the mitochondria are that energy producing portion of the cell. And when we don't have the nutrients for the mitochondria to work, it's like the engines have shut off. It's almost like your cell phone battery is dead. A cell phone is great, but without the battery, it doesn't do anything. So she was starting to run really low on mitochondrial dysfunction here. Her mitochondria, her batteries were starting to really get low. Every cell in her body was not producing the energy that it needed. She also had noticeable, and this is the best part that I get to look at, is neurotransmitter metabolism. I can actually tell off of these 3 markers somebody's personality. I can tell that she was having trouble with vanillin being low, having trouble handling stress. This was her coping ability. Her coping ability was low. And so the stressors in her life were overbalancing the coping ability, and so the stress level was too high, and her body was starting to deplete and go down the path of all of these diagnoses. Homovanillate is a breakdown marker of dopamine. Remember, when we have low dopamine, we get these sugar cravings to say, let me get this dopamine level up. And so we go and we grab a Snickers, or we go and we grab Twix, sure. I was going to say pop, but sure. We grab something to get that dopamine surge, to make us feel excited, motivated, rewarded. When this level is low, we're doing that artificially with those things. So where do these come from? Funny enough, it's an amino acid called tyrosine that needs to be supplemented in this case. So in her case, she was dealing with low motivation. She was dealing with low ability to cope. She had an inability to produce energy. She didn't have these nutrients coming into her body. Why was this happening? Where do all of our nutrients come into our body? It all comes into our body through our gut, our foods. And so, A, we need to make good food choices, but B, we need to have good gut function. And that gut function is not determined so much by us, it's actually determined by the over 100 trillion bacteria that are located in our digestive tract. So it's very important that they be balanced. And if you notice on her stool test, she was lacking E. coli, which is this is good E. coli, not the bad E. coli. And she had very, very high levels of inflammation. 430 is a very high marker on calprotectin. So inflammation in her gut, imbalanced gut bacteria because of, wasn't there some sort of antibiotic use that happened a while ago? We were killing off her good bacteria, and that was leading to these health challenges. And so for Amy, we decided to make a few changes. We worked on, clinically, we made some dietary changes. We decided to choose whole foods, organic, clean, green, lean. That was the rule that we gave her. We started doing meal planning and preparation in advance so that she could take her meals with her and didn't have to worry about stopping off at the shop nearby. And in doing so, we created smaller portions for her. Remember, I told you she was 202 pounds when she started. probiotics to help support her gut microbiome. We were very picky with which probiotics she needed based on the testing, because we don't guess as to what bacteria you're missing. We test to know what we give you. There were certain supplements that she needed, just 2 or 3, to help support carbohydrate metabolism and energy production in her mitochondria. We improved her bedtime routine. She was actually falling asleep on the couch every day at 10:30. And then at 1 o'clock would wake up and say, oh my goodness, I'm asleep on the couch. Let me walk over to my bed. She started going for walks in the evening, and that was part of her bedtime routine. It was getting her to wind down. It was calming her down. It was turning off the blue light that she was exposed to from the TV. It was doing a lot of very positive things for her to help her calm down and get to bed at a more reasonable time and at a better spot. And then there was mindfulness practice that we added in. In her case, it was journaling that really helped in getting her to calm her mind, bring back her thoughts, and get centered before she went to bed. Outcome, on my last conversation with her a couple weeks ago, she was down to 127 pounds from 202. She lost 75 pounds. Her medications had been reduced. Levothyroxine had been decreased 3 separate times as we were working with her. Her Plaquenil was only to be used when she had joint pain, which had been significantly reduced. Significantly higher energy levels. Improved digestion, she was regular. And no need for metformin because her blood sugar levels now came into the optimal range. I could just be saying this, or I could prove it to you. In January 2018, her A1C was at 6.0. In May, it was 5.4, and in October, it was 5.2. We brought her into optimal, not even good, optimal. Do you know what the optimal range is for your A1C, where you want it to be? It's between 4.4 and 5.5. Okay? 4.4 to 5.5 is optimal. When you're checking your blood sugar on your finger prick, if you see 6, that's not good. I know they say 6 is okay, 6 is okay. It's managed, but it's not optimal. We want to see optimal. On a fasting glucose, she was sitting at 4.8. That's where we should be. Okay? The reality is, all of this information, all of these tools, all of this knowledge is useless until you take action. Action is necessary to get these results. There are a lot of people out there that have taken action. We've all heard of people who have reversed diabetes. We've all heard of people that have lost 75 pounds. We've all heard of people that have taken action and gotten the results that they wanted. But the only thing that's the same between all of those cases is that they took action. It's autoimmune, so absolutely. There's ways to help it. There's ways to help it along. There's certain supplements. We can talk about that for sure. So just because you're here today, because you took time out of your Saturday to come here, to share, to learn, we're very excited to present you with a very special opportunity. There's some people that are patients already. I'm very excited to have them here to be able to share their story with whoever. If anybody wants to talk to you, they'd be willing. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to drop everything over here. I have my parents here who, funny enough, have lost weight, feel great, come off medication. Like, there's amazing things that have happened, and this is not something that I want to keep to myself. I need to get this out to as many people as possible. And so, because you're here today, there is a very special opportunity. And so, I've created the Health Upgraded program. I'm going to go over the program in a little bit of detail with you, but there's 8 steps that I'm going to go over. First off, we're going to have a 60-minute deep dive into your health challenges, where you're at. We're going to determine where you are and where it is that you want to go, and really figure out objectively what you're going through, what you're experiencing, the stressors. Really identify the blind spots. We're going to determine if there's any functional lab testing that needs to be done. We're going to determine if there's a program that works best for you. We're going to figure out what the best route is for you to become one of those people that has reversed whatever health condition it is that you're dealing with. I'm very excited to be able to offer this second piece, which is a 30-minute session with Ziba. And she's going to help you go through determining your needs from an Ayurvedic perspective. Our team, we have one of our amazing team members here. Laura is at the back at the table over there. Laura is one of our nutritionists. She is an amazing team member. She's also a functional medicine coach, which allows us to create accountability and regular check-ins for our patients so that we have this accountability ongoing, so that we're not losing you at any point. We're making sure that you're staying with us. So we're going to guide you through personalized diet and lifestyle changes with our team. We then will review your results for a 60-minute appointment after I send you a video explaining what I found. There's going to be monthly check-in appointments to keep you on track. So every month we will have regular check-ins. Make sure that that your supplements, your lifestyle changes, your stress levels are being managed and that we're on the right track. I never let my patients go. Most doctors, sadly, the way that the system works right now is that they'll write you a prescription and say, come see me in 6 months, let's see what's happening. All right? And then in the 10 minutes that you have with them, how much information can they really extract? We're going to review nutrition and lifestyle changes for accountability purposes with our team, with myself, whatever kind of needs to be done. Constant messaging access. So not just on top of these monthly appointments, but you have direct messaging access to me. In fact, you will have an app that you can message me directly, and it's secure, and you'll be able to contact me directly. So it's not like I say, here's the end of your appointment, now go. It's like, now go, and you can message me anytime. And I get back to people usually within an hour. On top of that, we will constantly assess your progress, set new goals, and take you to the next level. Really, we want to get you to the top of the mountain. We want you feeling like you're at the absolute top and you're ready to conquer something else and go change the world. Now, you don't need to decide on the entire program today. You don't need to make a big decision. What we're offering today is these first two appointments, a 60-minute appointment with me and a 30-minute session with Ziba to understand and completely uncover your needs and how we're going to take you to the next step. And on top of that, Ziba has generously offered to personally create a guided audio file of a personalized meditation for each one of you. So just to be completely transparent, those first two appointments plus a bonus of the guided meditation. On top of that, I'm going to throw in a copy of my book. The regular price for all of this is usually about $750 plus tax. Today only, and literally only today, we're doing this for $450. Okay? And on top of that, you get a free copy of my book. All right? If you're interested, if you're really ready to take action, if you're really ready to do something about your health, to become that person that's ready to take that next step, to be the person that's overcome these health challenges, today is the day to take action. You're here. Do it. If I could go back and tell myself when I was standing on that stage that you're going to figure it out, that you're going to be on stages all over the place talking to people about how they can be healthy, lose weight, get ahead of their diabetes, get ahead of their blood sugar issues, get ahead of the problems that they're dealing with, I would go back and do that in a heartbeat. But I love that I'm able to do this today, to share this information with you today. You might have some questions. You might be wondering, what if I'm already working with a naturopath? We have wonderful parents of a very good friend of mine who is a naturopath. Naturopaths are wonderful. Naturopaths understand what needs to be done. They're very good in their care. Sometimes the paradigm that they work with is a little bit different. It's still very much in the conventional, we need to diagnose and treat. But they're not always looking for the root cause. I know certain people are, and I'm very happy to be working alongside them. And so I'm very excited to be able to share that with certain people. But some naturopaths do work in a very conventional medical type of system. And that's why functional medicine is a new way of looking at health. It's just a completely different perspective. Remember that picture of the lion and the mouse. It's turning it around and looking at it in a very different way. we can work remotely. I realize we're doing this talk in the center of Toronto, and some people have driven from probably the East End and the West End and God knows where we've driven from. I've had people drive 2 hours to come see me talk previously. I can work remotely. We don't need to do all of our appointments in person. Every month, you don't need to come see me downtown, Etobicoke, wherever it is. You don't need to. We can do video calls. I have an office in Etobicoke, and I have an office downtown in Liberty Village. I'm able to be there. I'm also, majority of the time, I work from home, because most people like doing the video calls. And so that's where I'm able to really excel and be able to care for my patients and provide the support that they need on an ongoing basis without the extra 45 minutes of driving, parking, going upstairs. Don't have to worry about those things. And in fact, that video call can happen literally on your phone directly through the app. Okay? If I can't help you, I have a vast network of people that can. I have naturopaths that are amazing friends that have amazing tools. I have Ayurvedic practitioners that I work with. And our team is growing all the time. We can help you, take you to the next level. If we can't help you past that, we're more than willing and more than happy to pass you to the next level and to the person that's going to make that difference for you. That's why I like doing that first appointment, because that allows me to see whether I am the right fit for you. Because I only accept patients that are really ready to take that full action. After the initial consultation, we determine if we're the right fit to work together. If personality clashes, we won't accept it. If there's an issue with whatever it is, if there's an issue that we just don't seem to understand things or we're not on the same page, feel free, go on your way. But most likely, you're sitting here and you're looking at me and you're understanding what I'm saying and you're ready to take action. So if you're there at that point, more than likely, we're going to create a program that works best for you, and we're going to determine what those best next steps are for you. The cost of the programs varies, and we've created a new program, including Ziba inside it as well. There is a range that we are able to offer, anywhere between $1,500 and $5,000 for a full program, and that includes 6 months to a year of care. So it's not like you're throwing money away, you're actually being taken care of for a very long time. The next steps, if you're interested in taking that next step, if you're ready to take action today, please take your surveys to the back of the room where Laura is sitting. We'll have you make sure that you fill out both sides of that form completely. You can go to the back and you can pick a day and time that works best for you from the Post-its that are sitting there. Put that Post-it on your sheet and speak to Laura, and you'll receive the special price for today. We'll make sure you give us your contact info. We need to be able to get in touch with you. And then we look forward to a life-changing experience for you and for your loved ones. All right? Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for sharing with me. Thank you for paying attention, for not snoring. And I'm very excited to work with you and for you to share this information with as many people as you possibly can. We really do need to change the way this is going. If conventional medicine feels that they're right, then why are the levels of diabetes going up constantly? Why are these issues continuously getting worse? Why are more and more people being diagnosed with these things? The stat is that every 3 minutes, somebody in Canada is diagnosed with diabetes. Every 3 minutes. We are on the wrong track. There is a better way. Let's use it. Thank you. Yes. Insurance does not cover most of this. Usually it's not. Some people have, through extended health benefits, you may have a health benefit spending account. Sometimes that can cover portions of it, but it's generally not fully covered by anybody. Yeah, so type 1 diabetes a little bit differently, because it's not. It's an autoimmune condition. It's something that you've dealt with for significantly longer. There's a different way of looking at it. There's a different approach to it. We can absolutely help improve the symptoms, but we can't completely reverse type 1 diabetes. That's the key to this, is we're not going to reverse a condition like that. It's going to have to be something that we manage, but in a natural way, and work towards creating a healthier outcome and improving the coping ability towards that. Okay? The tests are not included in the cost of the program. Depending on what we need, we minimize the amount of tests that we use. I actually really only will ever use 2 tests with most people. The test can vary anywhere between $250 and $500 Canadian for the test, but we would choose and we limit the amount of tests that we do based on each individual. So there's some people out there that will get away with and have significant improvement with a single test, and there's people out there that'll have no issues at all with going through like 4 or 5 and need to really get tested for everything. Yes. Yeah, so these tests are part of not part of the program in terms of the cost, but what we do is to uncover what's truly on there and give you the recommendations based on that. What my job is to read that and explain it to each person individually. Yeah. Yeah. There are definitely ways that we can kind of work it out. We have created family plans that work for multiple people. I'm able to kind of adjust things in such a way that we can definitely make that work. You know what? There's always a possibility, right? And if we go in with the mindset that it won't happen,